Welcome to CDTV. I'm your host Ryan Thogmartin, and this is the funeral industry's most fun web show. We are in San Antonio. It's 75 and sunny, which is sweet because being in Ohio, it's cold and rainy and dreary and snowy, and so this is a wonderful welcome change. ICCFA Convention kicks off in about an hour, and I'm happy to have my dad with me. This is the first time I brought anybody to a convention to work in the booth with me. I'm excited that my dad was able to make the trip. This is his first funeral industry convention, so I just wanted to sit down with him and see, Dad, what your expectations are being an outsider. The only thing you know about the industry is stuff that I've talked about. You know what we're doing with Connecting Directors, and you know what I do with Evolve Business, but you know, what is your expectations going to a national convention?
Well, the only perspective I really have is in my own world. I'm an educator and I go to conferences related to education, so I have that kind of image in my mind, but I imagine a lot of the displays will be very much different than what I'm used to. I'm excited about it. Of course, I know, as Ryan said, I know quite a bit about what he does, but this will be my first chance to see things in a bigger context, and I'm pretty excited.
Well, good. You did have a conversation with a funeral director you didn't know on the airplane. What is your general, and be honest, your general perspective of a funeral director and what they do, and you know, just the whole. It's you got to take on a weird mindset to kind of understand how things go down.
Well, of course, like any consumer, I go to funeral homes when you know, death of a friend or a loved one. And so I encounter funeral directors there, and they always seem pretty somber but friendly and accommodating. They do things like take my coat and all that. But this gentleman on the plane was with his wife, and they were looking over the conference brochure, picking out what things they wanted to attend. And I overheard him on a telephone conversation and heard him talk about cremation. So I apologized for being nosy and eavesdropping, but told him I was headed to the same convention. So we had a nice conversation. He was dressed very casually, but very congenial. So I expect to meet a lot of friendly, nice people who know their business, who talk a lot, and you know, I think it's going to be a great event.
I'm pretty excited for you to meet some of the funeral directors that I've gotten to know through the website. And then just funeral directors in general, because I think the general public has a perception of funeral directors as they've got to be real serious all the time, and they're dealing, I mean, usually every day they're consumed in the worst day of somebody's life.
That's right.
So it'll be fun for me to watch you interact with funeral directors and see funeral directors in a different light, and they can cut loose and have a good time. So I'm excited to see that interaction.
Well, probably one of my preconceived notions is that I'm expecting everybody at this convention to be either my age or older, with the rare exception. And Ryan says, no, I'll probably see something quite a bit different than that. So,
yeah, I'm happy to have you here. I'm glad you're going to be in the booth. I'm excited for you to see what I do and learn more about our profession, and you know, why I have such a passion for it, and see, you know, what it is that funeral directors really, the detail that they have to go through day in and day out, the immense amount of different product you're going to see from, you know, you'll see booths where you can blast your ashes into space, and you'll see booths where you have a nice stone marble urn that you can keep on a showcase at home, or different burial products, green burial products. There's a whole section on green burial, so that is a very big movement right now in the industry. So I'm excited to teach you all about that stuff. I'm glad you're here. You know, one more question I have for you. If it wasn't for me talking about what I do day to day with the burial vault business, would your perception of death be more drawn towards cremation or burial if you could displace yourself, and only the knowledge that you've been exposed to without my input on burial and a burial vault?
Well, growing up, cremation was a very rare thing in little Midwest Ohio.
Sure.
Not very many people talked about cremation. I still, I mean, my own attitude is burial. It always has been. from my own personal faith and perspective, I would gravitate that way. But I do know that just seeing the news and talking to people and looking around, that it's an option that more and more people are choosing. So I understand, the changes that are happening, and realize it may present a challenge to the industry, and it may present opportunities to the industry as well. We just had, if I can tell the story, I'm involved in hang gliding, and one of my buddies in our hang glider club had an unfortunate, when you take off at a hang glider, we call it launch, and he took off, he launched, and got his nose too high and hit the cliff and was killed. And of course, a very sad day for our club. But after the club and his wife got over the grief, they began talking about, where do we go from here? She had him cremated, the wife did, and in another month and a half or so, we're going to have a ceremony out at our flying field and spread his ashes from a hang glider up several thousand feet in the air. So
that's cool. Here's my one question. I want you to think about this, and after the convention we're going to sit down again like this, and then we're going to get Dad's perspective on what he thought coming into it and how he feels coming out of it. So but I want you to ponder this question before we close. You're going to scatter his ashes. That's going to be great. What happens in the future when kids say, where's Grandpa's ashes?
Exactly.
Where's Grandpa buried? Well, Grandpa's not buried. Where is he? I remember in elementary school doing genealogy stuff, and every kid goes through it and going to the cemetery and seeing your grandfather's grave, or and where my grandparents' grave plots are going to be, and you know where that person is, and you have a place to go grieve and to visit. When you scatter ashes, where do you go from there?
I'm with you there.
So I want to think about that question, and then we'll sit down and do this again. Dad, I'm glad you're here. Love you. Thanks for coming.
Love you too, Ryan.
And
proud of you, man.
Until the next time we meet, together we're going to revolutionize the funeral industry. Thank you.
Thank you.